Hi Seif, thanks for joining for closure of the day. So small talks about you, JHipster Code.
Okay.
So let's start to introduce yourself to the listeners, maybe your background, who you are, where you're coming from.
Okay. So my name is Seif Mouehli, and my background is software engineering, and right now I'm working as a director of cloud native platform technologies at Irada Capital, which is building a digital bank. So that's why I was curious when I was hearing him talking about it. And Irada Capital is based in Dubai. I came from Dubai to attend the JHipster Code.
Quite a long flight to go.
Quite a long flight with the hassles, with the with the pandemic and everything.
Yeah.
So, and I'm enjoying as well being here. So it's a good occasion for me to meet up again with the guys and the core team, basically.
Yeah. So what's your story with JHipster? How did you first heard about it? Since when you working with it?
So I started actually working with JHipster 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So it was I would say when it was almost a year and a half, 2 years old. We were looking to build a web application quite fast. And obviously most of the developers will always say, let me try something and I'll write something from scratch. Mm-hmm. And obviously it's a culture for developers to reinvent the wheel, because many things exist already. And just a matter of searching for the right framework. Most of the developers as well, they always go with the comfort zone. So they go with the technologies that they are comfortable with, but sometimes these technologies do not match the proper business requirement. Technology is at the end of the day fulfilling requirement business, right? This is how it works. And JHipster basically has a very generic approach to deliver a web application that contains already all the requirement what you need in business, meaning database setup, security setup, even if it's basics, but it gives you already all what you require. So this is actually what I was looking for. And eventually back in 2015 during the summertime, I wanted to create a a web application. And I found JHipster as a framework, which was still new, and some people were talking about it. And the whole story is, I started just using it in a friendly way, and I found it very interesting because obviously the time to market was very quick. From the installation to the generation of the project, it's a couple of minutes, and you have an application up and running. So from there, I started actually to use it, and then little by little, I started to contribute since I was finding some bugs. Being in touch as well with Julien. He was the first guy to whom I was interacting. I came to JHipster at Ippon, by the way. It was a hackathon that was done in 2016. And I came from Dubai 48 hours and I left just for this purpose of hackathon to meet the guys and go back. So this is how it is. Long story basically with them.
Yeah.
So
nice. So you used it both personally and professionally.
Yes.
And so personally, you built a web application.
Yeah.
So from scratch based on JHipster until production.
Yes.
And it's running in production with the JHipster core.
Yes.
And professionally, did you use it only for POC purposes or for side projects, or is it also used for your company, for example, as for production core?
So right now, actually, as I'm talking, we are building what we call a banking corporate portal. So it's a website basically oriented for the corporate accounts based on JHipster. So we started initially with a different technology and we found some complications basically when it was scaling. And we said we wanted to go with something which is close to the cloud native approach, meaning that we wanted to containerize the applications and go to Kubernetes. So that's my basically area of work on a daily basis. And knowing JHipster, I said, okay, we can use it initially as a starting point, and then from there we take it to another level. Luckily, during that period, Julien as well from his side with Microsoft was working on the integration of Azure Spring Cloud to the Microsoft stack, which was perfect in our scenario because Spring Cloud basically, the underlying part is Kubernetes. It just removes the hassle of managing the deployment of the application within Kubernetes. So we're using it right away, actually, for the production. So we're getting it ready for that.
So quite good experiences with JHipster.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's when you want to deliver something very fast, I think it's probably like the like amongst the best frameworks that you have right now in the market to just, start with the full stack that you require, meaning the full stack, not as we know it, like front end and back end only, but it's like bottom up infrastructure, data layer, and application layer, which is like unique kind of, because none of the applications nowadays, or none of the frameworks gives you this layer of integration.
Okay. Okay, and so you were saying this is the usage part. You also contribute to that project also?
Yes.
Developing bug fixes, evolutions. I don't know what's the work you've done and that you're doing now?
So there are many, most of my contributions were related obviously to what we've been doing at work. So trying to enhance the generator by obviously contributing to the Kubernetes part. Right now, for example, the whole day I spent it working with the guys in the DevOps track to add, for example, all the Terraform part, which is basically creating all the infrastructure as code automation for JHipster. Because usually developers, when they want to start working and developing, they don't want to waste time on finding out how I'm going to run my application and where am I going to run it. Locally, it's just you play it and you run it, it works. But to build the end-to-end stream for your application, then you need to have as well, kind of transparency for the developer to deploy his application without any hassle, and avoiding having silos where you need to request for whatever infrastructure, a VM or a Kubernetes cluster, and then you have to request for someone from the DevOps to give you a pipeline, etc., etc. So we're trying to work on actually a full transparency, whether you want to deploy it on GCP, on AWS, on Azure. So right now I'm just trying to contribute as much as I can on the Azure part, because we've been working a lot with Azure as well.
And it seems that'd be quite a hard part to manage.
It's the most interesting part, actually.
Dense
it is the most interesting, because once you've been in development for a long time, then you want to see the other stuff that actually happens to the software, which is mainly in relation to the operational side of the deployment, the maintenance, and stuff like that. So that's actually how we keep improving as well the life cycle of the software.
Okay. And so you joined today the JHipster Code. You joined Pierre's track, I guess.
Yes.
So compared to what you were expecting at the beginning of the day, now that you have been working on it for 6 hours, 7 hours, are you happy with the progress you've made today? Was it helpful to work physically with other team members? I guess you were 4 of them.
Yeah, we were few people. Yeah, 5 people actually in total were working with this track. So obviously, look, after the 6-month period where everyone was kind of, panicking, anxious about the pandemic, it's always good to meet again physically with people, because it's, it's cheering up again, and, we're looking forward to hopefully things would continue this way. And from the work point of view, it's always much better to work, when you're face to face, rather than just spending your time on Zoom calls or Teams calls or Google Meet, or it's just becoming antisocial basically at some point, though we're using social medias for that. No, it's very productive, because obviously working directly with the guys, you just have to ask them the question on the spot, and they provide you an answer or a direction for that. Especially since I'm working on the Azure stack, Julien is just here, so when I need him for something, I just grab him and tell him I need your help for something. So that's how it is. It's pretty good. We could achieve something, at least for the day, which is very good. So there will be probably just some few cleanups to be done, and then we just submit it as a POC and something that can be used by others. So it's good.
Okay. So I guess it's hard to say, but what's the estimated time of arrival for the functionality you're developing today?
Everything is a matter of time. That's one of the things which also, as any contributor, we need to find some time eventually to do it. So I hope that actually we could finish this to have it industrialized by probably end of this month. It could be done before, but not over-promising as well is good, to keep the expectation realistic. So by end of this month would be good.
Okay.
Because most of the work is done, and there is some few things which are literally the final steps to industrialize something, to make it working beautifully, I would say.
Good change.
Yeah, definitely one.
Okay, and so in JHipster, I asked this question to previous interviewed also. What's the feature that might be missing, or that you'd like to see out in the few weeks, months, that would be really helpful for you, or that you'd you'd find really interesting to get?
So it's probably a mix of what JHipster is doing and what we started doing today with Pierre and William. Nowadays, when you go to the market and you look at what people need in reality, right? As a technologist, I always try to find which is the best solution or the best approach for the time to market. Because obviously, when you're running something in the cloud, every second you spend in the cloud is money, it's cost. So they see it as a cost center. So obviously, the best approach, and this is probably what would make JHipster close to perfect, is to provide features which will basically say in which cloud am I deploying, and I will have a set of services that could be available. So very similar to what we've been doing today, like kind of variabilizing, if I can say, the Terraform script. So you can say I want to deploy in Kubernetes, I need this particular managed service like a database, container registry, having some security aspects as well managed via these files. So at least when you start building, you always think about the 3 layers. So you build up a rock solid infrastructure like that from the beginning. You know that you will have a kind of development and production parity, and you will not reach production with the stress of, okay, now I need to fix it for production. So that's the thing. And the second thing is, anyways, from the application side, I think we have already something which is almost close to production ready. So it's maybe that first layer that we need to work on, and that would be really making JHipster great.
Okay, so that will be next work.
That's what I'll try to contribute to. I'll try to contribute a lot to that. That's probably one thing that we should be doing. So there is a DevOps part, which is the CI part, which as well needs to be improved. So there are some few things still.
Good. So to conclude, maybe, how did you find the day? Did you enjoy it? Did it meet your expectations? And was it okay to do the travel from Dubai?
It is definitely worth the travel. I mean, again, for me coming here, first of all, even before the track, I discovered a city that I've never came to before. Bordeaux is a wonderful and very beautiful city. I don't know if it is me or it's like a coincidence, but we brought the hot weather with us. Looks like I run away from Dubai to come to a good weather, and the weather is as hot as Dubai almost, I would say, here. So everything was good, and as well the whole day everything ran smooth. People were seemed to be happy. Everything seemed to be good. No one seemed to be sick. That's very good as well. And the activities seemed to be well organized. So the whole team, kudos to them, because obviously it was very challenging to prepare everything, and especially I guess the guys from Ippon as well. So thanks to you and thanks to everyone else.
Thank you. So this will conclude our interview. I don't know if you have any words to say that you want to say.
Hopefully, the only thing I would say is I hope to see you soon again. Hopefully things will change and we'll be able to travel again. And if you come by Dubai, please feel free to just pass by to Arada, and we'll take care of you this time.
Or maybe we'll organize the next JHipster conference or JHipster Code to Dubai.
Yeah, definitely. That would be good.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks to you again.
And see you around.
Cheers. Thanks again.
Thanks.